Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Paru's Custom Corner. This time, we're actually looking over a set that I've created over the past few weeks. And when I create things, I get to skip ahead of everyone else on the list. So today I have Connor from Boats Don't Sink with me. Say hello, Connor.
Hello, everybody.
And we're gonna get right into Ocarina of Time. This is just a three-color set, 50 cards. I tried to cut out all the fluff cards, so this should mostly be interesting stuff, with a few direct clones or like kind of generic profiles. Connor, why don't you go ahead and read the first card for us?
Cool. All right, so this first card is Link and Zelda, which, given that it's the two, main titular characters, I assume is going to be an important card here. 0/0/1000. Auto, when this is placed on stage from your hand, you can discard one card. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck, choose a level X or lower Hyrule character, return it to your hand, in your waiting room, return it to your hand. X is level the revealed card, so that's just the typical Rico profile. And then act, pay one, send this to memory, look at up to 3, choose a Hyrule character, add it to your hand, put the rest in waiting room. This card seems nuts. I would play 4 of this in
Yes.
every deck ever.
Okay. Also, this was intended to be at about the current power level of JP format, which, if you're not familiar, is like starting to get like kind of off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's
this,
interesting because I like
sorry.
seeing how different people power level wise design their sets, because some people it's sort of like older JP power level, some people it's like current off the rails.
Yes.
I tend to be a fan of kind of lower power level, but with still with good utility cards, because I don't like how aggressive the JP game is really getting right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, but you look at JP format right now, and this Rico level 0 profile to just ditch reveal top and salvage is they're playing 4 of it in every deck that has access to it right now.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to try field so easily. So this is super strong.
Yeah. I think this card is nuts also. And it's kind of like intended. It's a memory target for it's like a memory requirement for a
Okay,
few
yeah.
different
See,
cards in the set.
yeah, you just have to play it anyway.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely a good card. Definitely a card you don't mind playing for the other requirements.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. And it has an interaction with another card that's like potentially broken later on, so that'll be fun to
Nice,
talk about when we
nice.
get to it. Flavor wise, I don't really know if it's flavorful. I guess you know, past Zelda, child Link, they go to memory, right? Link, he loses his childhood. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna
Yeah,
say that that's
yeah,
flavorful.
yeah. The
And
flavor seems fine. It's definitely just one of those generic package cards that you have to fit in, but
yeah.
it's still reasonably flavorful, regardless.
Oh, and I did try to add flavor text to just about every card that wasn't only Link,
Dude,
because I
flavor text makes cards look so much better.
because I don't know how you get flavor text for cards that are just Link. Because I'm not just gonna have a card that says like "hurrah" on it. And then balance, it's technically within
uh,
Bushiroad's power budgeting,
it is. I'm gonna give it a neutral because it is within their power budgeting,
but
so it's not a
yeah.
minus, but it is so pushed.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, but I like this card a lot. If I was building the set, I'm sleeving 4 of this up, even if I'm not playing the cards that need it.
Oh, I mean, even if you're not playing like the green deck, because it's like
Yeah,
Link, Ganon, and Zelda kind of split into three colors. You could
right. I'm
throw
assuming
this in
they're all
any of the.
Hyrule anyway, right?
Yeah, some of the cards require you to be playing mono red on stage,
Okay,
but everything is high, like still checks for high roll trait.
cool.
All right, so let's get into our next card here. This is a lot of text.
That
You
is
have
a
two or
tall
more other
text box.
characters, high roll characters. This card gets plus 2,000 power, so he's usually sitting at 11k. When this is placed on stage by hand or by the auto ability of Link and Sheik, if you have another high roll character, choose one of the following abilities and perform it. Either look it up to 3 from the top of your deck, add one to hand, or put the top card of your clock into your waiting room. And then it has a climax combo. On attack, pay 2, ditch 1, and put a face-up card in your level face down. When this card attacks, if you have Blade of Evil's Bane and Climax, which is a bag, and you have 4 or more other high roll characters, you may pay cost. If you do, deal X damage to your opponent, then choose X cards in your opponent's waiting room and shuffle those cards into your opponent's deck. X is equal to the number of face down cards in level +1. So if you triple this, it's going to be 2, then 3, then 4.
Holy moly. Okay.
So it's like super Mordred.
Right. The first thing that reminded me of obviously is Mordred.
Yeah.
So comparing the cost of it to Mordred, you're just, I guess it's the same cost, right?
Well,
Pay
Mordred's
two,
only pay
discard
2.
one. Oh,
Mordred
she's just
doesn't
pay two. You don't,
require
you don't
additional
need
one.
discard one. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're adding a discard
And
and
a
then you're
field
adding the full
requirement.
board condition
Mm.
to also shuffle back, and you're bumping the number up to +1. Is Mordred +1 or is she
No,
just the
Mordred
number?
is just the
Yeah,
number,
she's just the number.
but she
That's what
doesn't
I
have
thought.
any requirements on her beyond just
Right.
pay cost.
Okay. And then the on-play effect is pretty pushed too. It adds the like having another high roll character requirement, but that should be pretty free.
Right.
And it's an 11k, which is, I guess, like 11k for things that don't come out early. Because the Lincoln Sheik also doesn't have a way to come out at level 2, right?
Right. It's yeah.
So like 11k is a pretty normal, like your big boss level 3 power line, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
This card's very strong. I think it's balanced. Like it's a good modern JP power level finisher, I think. It still requires like a fair amount of resources to resolve multiple of.
Mm-hmm.
Do other effects in the set turn cards in your level face down as well?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a lot of the link cards. Like the
Okay.
the flavor is supposed to be like using magic, like the magic meter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so I assume you have ways to refill it as well and
Yes.
like unflip them. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I guess you could always get stuck in situations where like you don't have a way to flip 3 face down or whatever to like triple, and it's a lot of resources anyway. So
Yeah.
I think it's good on balance, good on strength, like strong strength. So
Sick.
I'll give it like
Yeah.
a
I'm thinking A plus again, actually.
yeah, and then
It's definitely a pushed card.
yeah, it's definitely a push card. It has a lot of just like, it's the whole like modal thing that's just always really strong.
Okay, now consider that the sorry, what were you gonna say first?
Oh, I was just looking at flavor. I don't know where flavor
It might
like
it might just not be flavored.
really comes into this, like other than like the whole magic thing that's like maybe a cross link as a whole
Yeah.
with the level zone cards.
So consider that the card that can change into this is a stock swap.
Okay, I did not consider that. I only looked to see if it could come out early or not.
Mm-hmm. I didn't
Okay.
actually know if that was balanced. I was thinking of the Reiner changer, because the Reiner
Right.
changer does have a typical like level 3 on play effect.
It does, and it makes Armored Titan a lot better than if it didn't have
Yes.
Reiner alongside it. But Armored Titan doesn't have
right.
a level
Yes.
3 effect.
That's what I was about to get at too. So it's possible that maybe that's like maybe the stock swap effect on the Lincoln sheet. We'll get to that when we get to it. But like maybe it should be tuned up a little bit because it's the typical kind of like level 3 on play pay one do it. But
Sure.
if you want to make it more of like a resource crunch, you can make it pay to give power somewhere instead. Or like
right.
Yeah, just like find a way to kind of like artificially jack up the cost on it.
Yeah, so what is the power on this link? So it's the plus 2,000 is minus 1,000, right? So
yes.
10-5 on play effect is 9-5, climax combo is 9. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it's on a pool trigger too.
Oh yeah. Oh, pool trigger. I forgot that. What a weird name.
I like that we're using.
Oh yeah.
Generally considered bad triggers.
Okay, so the Link deck is 8 bag, but it has like an extreme payoff.
I noticed that I noticed that the event card referenced them as well.
Yes.
Okay.
We have some sick bag support here. All right, next one's
yours.
You get to
read what we got. Sure. Saria, Sage of Forest. 00500. When your character's trigger check reveals a card with pool in its trigger icon and all of your characters are Hyrule, Instead of putting the top card of your deck into your stock, you may choose a Hyrule character in your waiting room and put it into your stock. Okay, that's pretty good. I think I might like word that a little differently, but I like that a lot. Turning
Yeah.
your blind stocks into clean stocks.
The only
Uh,
reference for like that wording that kind of effect was the Dal one, and I actually hate how that card is worded. But there's probably a middle
Set,
ground there somewhere.
oh, the yellow like return
The
trigger stuff.
Yeah, the one that like
Okay,
changes it into top deck.
yeah, yeah. I haven't actually read that card's like official translation.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
we've got so act rest this card, choose a face down card and level, flip it face up. That's just our normal like Jean thing.
Hmm.
And then brainstorm, pay 1, rest this card. Flip over 4 cards from the top of your deck, put them into your waiting room. For each climax with a pool in its trigger icon revealed among those cards, choose up to 1 Hyrule character in your waiting room, return it to your hand. Choose one of your Hyrule characters, and that character gets plus 1,000 power until end of turn. So I like that the brainstorm and the flip level face up are on the same thing, so you have to like choose between which one you value at any given point in time.
Hmm.
I think that makes for like more interesting decisions. I like that the pool support is on a card that you're going to want on your board anyway, because I don't like when these decks want you to have like 3 back row cards all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes it's balancing, but it's also just obnoxious and usually makes the decks unplayable.
Hmm.
And I do like this brainstorm effect more. I like the 4 with extra like power or whatever for hitting specific
Over like
climaxes
mill
over like
5.
brainstorm 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think Brainstorm 5 is fine on like Rest 2 stuff. I don't like the self-rest Brainstorm 5s outside of draw brainstorms.
Yeah, the Xion brainstorm is like a weird
That one's probably like the most balanced just because of like the weird downsides on it. But
right, but they could have printed that card like without the downside probably, and it would have
yeah,
fit in somewhere, and that's like a scary thought.
right. But I like this card a lot. It's just generic good support for the deck. It fits in with the theme of the deck in like both the level zone part and the climaxes. Reasonably flavorful. Like
Yeah.
this is your
This
one of your
childhood friend, you know, she's
right,
hanging
yeah,
out in the
one of
back, she's
your
assisting your
real
Link.
support, support characters giving you support. So I'd say this is like A
flavor.
plus, and I like it on balance too.
Yeah, I didn't really know how to balance that first effect. I looked at the just kind of how they balance most climax supports, like the what's her
Right,
name,
if you look at like
Sakura.
the Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, this seems fine. Like a 500 power brainstorm
Hmm.
is sort of like I think the baseline for a lot of just like lots of text on brainstorms.
Yeah.
Usually it doesn't really matter how you get there. So that's as small as it gets.
Hmm. All right, we got a sick next card. During your
Ooh.
we got Link at the Temple of Time. During your turn, if you have 2 or more other Hyrule characters, he gets plus 2,000 power. And then when he attacks, if you have the bag or pool trigger in your climax area and you have 2 or more other Hyrule characters, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Hyrule or Smashing Pots event from among them. Add it to your hand. Sorry, it should say reveal it to your opponent. Add it to your hand. Put the rest into your waiting room, and then you may pay the cost. If you do, perform trigger check twice on that trigger step. So it's a 500 power bigger version of the Aria from D side.
Okay. I'm not super familiar with D-side card pool, but I like this card a lot. I think like the check top 3, add 1 is a good way to like add extra like minor effects on top instead of like check 4.
Yeah.
Like check 3 with power or check 3 with twin drive. The during your turn plus 2k is like a pretty standard power condition for level 1 combos at this point.
Hmm.
But I think the twin drive works really well with wanting to trigger all these pools and just get a bunch of stock.
Yes.
Especially when you now are getting clean stock off of your pools, it lets you just pay out. Like if you trigger a climax on one attack, you know that the first stock is clean, so now you can pay out the climax to get even more clean stock.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like that you're paying cost after you check top 3, so you know what you've milled over and like whether you need to be twin driving or not, or how many climaxes might be left in your deck. And you're not just like twin driving without need if you don't have to.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you like all the information before you decide if you're paying one. So I like that a lot. And I haven't actually read the event yet. I know it interacts with the pool triggers, but
It's similar to Toilet, but requires a tap on play.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool.
We'll get to the
This
event.
card's good. This card's like
Or
fairly generic, but fits in like Link smashing pots is it's our favorite thing.
yeah, everyone loves
So, like,
smashing the pots. I think we should talk about the pots actually real quick while
yeah,
we're on
sure.
this
Let's
card
talk
because there's
about
a
the
few
pots.
other cards that interacts with it. So I'm actually
Okay.
going to jump all the way back down to slide 18, the pots.
All right.
And real quick, we're just going to read it real quick. We're not going to do the rating yet. If you have
Okay.
a climax in your climax area and its trigger icon is pool, this card in all of your zones gets pull in the trigger icon. Put one of your standing Hyrule characters to rest. If you do, choose a Hyrule character in waiting room, put it in stock, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Hyrule character or this card, put it into hand, and then you may choose a face down card in level and flip it face up. So it does a lot of things.
That's a lot of text.
There's a lot of text.
It's a lot of like relevant text too.
Yes,
Okay.
the Pots event is really pushed too.
Yeah, so having a way to add it off of your combo is definitely something you want.
Yeah,
Because you want to be seeing that card all the time. And then if you don't see it off your combo, then you just twin drive to try to trigger it. Because it's going to be more pool triggers with your climax in play. Yeah. So I'm going to give this an A+. I think this is like perfect synergy for what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And it also, like, one of the things I brought up about the finisher was the stock, like the high cost. But if you have all these ways to get extra stock, that kind of makes up for that as well.
This green Ocarina of Time deck is absolutely free to stock swap though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because all your stock's gonna be clean.
You're putting all of your like eggs in one basket. Like if your stock gets answered, you're like out of the game just instantly. And then
That's pretty
balance,
funny.
I think it technically falls. Everything is it's all kosher here.
Yeah, this seems fine. This is like a card I would 100% just expect to see in real sets, like every time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is
Like you said,
word
it's
for
like
word
the
a D-side
one.
card.
Yeah.
That one didn't have a trait restriction on the first effect, so it was
Okay.
500 power smaller. But that's the only difference.
Yeah.
All right, you got the next one.
All right, Link Spin Attack. It comes with sound effects and everything.
Yes.
0/0/1500. If all of your characters are Hyrule, this card gets plus 1500 power and the following ability. At the start of your opponent's attack phase, you may move this card to an open position in your center stage with a character facing this card. So 3K Chaser. And when battle opponent becomes reversed, if you have another Hyrule character, you may choose one level 0 or lower character in your opponent's center stage and put it into their waiting room. That second effect is like one of my favorite lines of text that never sees play. Like, they've printed it in, I know Mushoku has it. I think Kaguya 2 has it.
Yeah, Attack on Titan's got it on Gene.
Yeah, and it just never sees play. But like, it's kind of cool. It's like a cool way to punish like tri-fielding.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like if your deck's playing a slower level 0 game or something, or even if you go to level 1 and your opponent like tri-fielded you to level 1, you can just play this and pop 2 of their dudes and get an extra direct attack or something.
Yeah, it's extra soul. It denies on reverse effects.
Yeah, and I think putting it on a chaser opens up this like huge world of now your opponent can't even like tie into you because they might just lose. They might like get anti-damaged, right?
Yeah,
like they just lose an attack because they crash into you. So they have to side attack. This would actually be like insane in a world where you're playing like the Mikasa Brainstorm profile where it gets like power and can't be side attacked.
Yeah, definitely.
This card's cool. Like it's an uncommon. You're playing it as a 3K chaser probably, and the second line of text may or may not come up every now and then.
Yes.
This is like a B because I imagine sometimes you would rather this just be like 3,500.
Yeah.
But again, sometimes it'll come up.
Yeah, like the 3K, like every card in Weiss is like 3,500 now at 0, so the 3K will
Hmm.
come up sometime. Flavor's
Yeah.
great. He's hitting two guys at the
Yeah,
same time.
exactly. Yeah, I like that. I like that. You just like accidental collateral damage. Um, oh, what have I done?
I don't, I don't know. It's
Whatever. All right.
it's fine. It's fine.
Um,
Balance
the
seems. I think it's good.
yeah, balance is good.
Hell yeah. Moving on.
Cool card.
We got Link and Navi. Flavor text because it's Navi. When
Yeah.
this card attacks, if you have another Hyrule character, this card gets plus 2,000 for the turn, so it's 65 like our last one. And then it is on play, discard a card, put a card in your level zone to face down. When this is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, look at up to 4 cards in the top of your deck. Choose a Hyrule character or Smashing Pots from among them, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, and put the rest in a waiting room. So it's a level 1 Azusa profile that requires you to flip a level card face down, swings for 65, and can grab the Pots event.
Really good. I like these like Azusa effects at level 1 that just have like one extra condition on them. Like we've seen like the Experience 2 ones a lot. We've seen
The Resonate one.
The Resonate one. Hololive's checks for level 1 or higher cards, but it has the like Experience color condition. I like these a lot. I think they're pretty like just balanced overall. They're typically not like super powerful. They're good enough to see play here and there. Being level 1 makes them a lot worse than being level 0.
They're also
But
almost
they mostly
sorry,
also don't attack for 65.
yes, they're almost always 5K exactly.
Yeah.
And this one just gets that extra bit of power on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is like a B plus A minus.
This condition is a lot more restrictive though than like experience ones.
Yeah,
there
you're
are
limited on
times,
the number of times you can do this.
yeah, there are games where you'd want to like, or turns rather, where you'd want to play like 2 of this in one turn, but you only have 1 level card to flip face down.
Yeah, that's true. Thankfully, the Pots event does fix that.
Yeah, so if you get a Pots event off of it, you just refill your magic.
Exactly.
So good.
That's really good. We like that. Balance is, I think it's good.
I think it's good.
Adding the 2k power on top of like an already pretty good effect is like maybe it should only gain like 1,000 or something, like just like during your turn 1,000.
Sure.
But probably still fine. Like Bushiro just loves printing random 1065s at this point.
True.
All right. Next card is Link, Music of the Forest. So this is a 2/1 6,000. Does have a soul trigger. Continuous during your turn. Your other Hyrule character in the middle position of your center stage gets 1,000 power. Continuous assist, it looks like. All of your level 3 or higher characters in front of this card get plus 2,000 power. And auto, on play from hand, you can discard 1 to choose a Smashing Pots in your waiting room and return it to your hand. So this is just a lot of like back row power, and it's giving you, it's basically refunding its like on play cost, I guess, by getting you the Smashing Pots to get the stock back, and probably the hand back for playing the Smashing Pots. So yeah, this seems just like
it's a sick
free
assist that can
it's a free assist to play down. Yeah. Because we've seen some that they print that are like on play if you have 4 or more other characters, like you get your stock back.
Yeah.
This just like gets you a little bit extra on top of that, but is taking up more deck slots. Because of like the Smashing Pots and stuff, and you have to actually have one in your waiting room. So yeah, this is like a B probably. Sometimes these assists, like, it varies from deck to deck whether these actually matter. Because like we haven't actually still seen an early play yet, I don't think. So
we see one in the next card.
Next card, nice. If the early plays matter and care about the defense, then this card is good. If they don't, then like maybe this card just kind of exists as like a 1-of or something.
I think one of the biggest uses for this is that it is a big assist that makes your Link able to dodge hexproof because memory kick counters, because he does require a full field.
That's true. Yeah.
On attack to do the climax combo.
Yeah, so every bit of extra power to dodge memory kick matters there.
Yes.
Because that puts you up to like 14 on the sides, 15 in the middle, which still is like kind of pushing it against like some decks, since memory kick counters are 3k. So yeah, this is probably pretty important to get like just barely over memory kick counters.
All right. What are you thinking? I don't know if it's
I don't think it's like
flavorful.
super flavorful. I think
Yeah,
like
that's fine.
this like art and name especially would maybe have been better flavor related to something with like the Ocarina,
Sure.
rather than the pots.
Yeah, I get you.
Balance, it's a plus.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for this next card. This is the Eins killer.
Hell yeah.
This fuck Eins. If your opponent has a level 3 or higher character, this card gets -1 level in your hand. And auto at the end of this card's attack, you may put one card from your hand into your stock. If you do, if this card's battle opponent is not reversed, return this card to your hand, put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room. I should say, and if you do, put that character into your opponent's clock.
Okay, so it's like Kurayami condition, like if you don't, mixed with a like clock bomb sort of effect,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. It means that if you're killing them normally, you don't get to deny their stuff. But if they're just really big, you're like kind of an anti-change bomb, but you hit more things.
Yes.
I
It's
think it's
kind of
super
like,
balanced with that being the only effect on it. And I like this early play condition a lot. Like this is so narrow of just like this is a tech card that's made to answer like specific threats.
yeah, made to answer big hexproof guys at level
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. Um strength wise, this is like it's probably just I think it's just probably like a C because I think in a lot of matchups this is just a dead card in your deck.
Yeah, this is like
And
something
it's
you'd
like
play one of at most,
right,
anyways.
and it's like maybe one of the first things you're just like throwing in your stock off of like a pool trigger.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not a matchup where it matters.
For what it, for like it, just in case it doesn't matter, if he reverses something, you can't, and like you'd want to get the stock charge bounce back to hand, you cannot.
Right, yeah.
It might never come up, but like it is something you could think about while playing this. I think this is great flavor because all the grown-ups who wander into the forest, they turn into skeletons.
Yeah. Yeah, he just anyone that gets in his way just sort of
Yeah.
disappears. Balance, this is good. These kind of like narrow tech cards. I like when they exist in sets. That you don't need like a lot of them.
Mm.
But like one or two here or there, especially in the context of like what sets are big around the time that this would like theoretically release.
Yes.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Whenever I make like cards, I'm always thinking of like what's good right now. How do I make sure that the thing I'm making can beat what's good?
Right, because it makes sets feel more like interconnected as well, to where
Mm-hmm.
like they're not just all super standalone. The meta is sort of interacting with itself.
Yes.
All right, so next up we have Link and Sheik. This was the 3-2 that's referenced on the finisher combo. 3-2 85 during your turn gets plus 1,000 for each of your other Hyrule characters. 12-5 on offense is pretty big if you just needed to like get over something or maybe like didn't have your climax to go into the finisher. So that's pretty nice. On play, as we said, it's a stock swap, so you can pay one, stock swap your opponent. Pretty good at just setting up deck states where your opponent might just die to the shuffle back. This is also kind of cool where if your opponent normally stock swap doesn't really matter unless you can force your opponent to refresh in the same turn.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the change in compression won't actually happen until they go into their next deck state. But with this, say they had like 15 cards in deck and 10 stock, the stock swap still matters because the smaller their deck is, the more impactful the shuffle back is. So it means that like even if the stock swap itself isn't affecting their compression, it makes the shuffle back more impactful later.
Right.
So that's cool synergy between the two cards for sure. And then, as we said, it has the Reiner change effect. You can just sack it to Waiting Room to play the finisher combo from Waiting Room to its stage position.
I think this card is sick because it makes like a perfect kind of, how do you beat shuffle back combos? You just do it like, you just have a full deck when it's
Right,
about
yeah,
to
and like
happen.
not enough waiting room for him to shuffle back.
Yeah, and this says, nope, sorry, there's no escape.
Yeah.
You are getting the cards put back whether you want it or not.
Now the only way to stop it is to like pay out all of your stock and refresh right before they go into it. At which
Okay.
point, like you might be decompressed enough that you just die to like the burns,
Now
even if they don't
consider
shuffle back.
this. I've changed the card mid-set review.
Uh-oh. What have we done?
But it is now pay 2 stock
So now it's
swap, give plus 2,000
sure.
power. Just to make it so that you do have to pay resources to do all of this.
Yeah. So I think this is still good for like kind of different reasons now, right? Obviously, you still have all the synergies with the stock swap.
Yes.
And it's harder to do, so it's slightly more balanced. It takes an extra stock. But we mentioned like the whole thing with memory kit counters and needing a full board. So giving the 2,000 power now can like actually matter to help you get over those counters as well. So it still has synergy with the finisher. Like even extra synergy with the finisher where you could play one copy, play this, buff it, change, play another Lincoln sheet. Well, I guess you wouldn't want to pay 2 to buff like twice because that's just a lot, but it at least gives you one extra lane of extra power, right, to dodge counters.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just an extra stock that's not giving you anything just to make it cost more. You are still getting like a little bit of benefit out of it.
Exactly. Wanted to make it at least you're getting something out of that extra stock. What do you think?
This is probably like a B plus because it's not a card you really want to draw multiples of outside of just changing into the 3/2s. You only need the one copy for the stock swap.
Yeah, I think
you're probably playing like 2 of this and 4 of the finisher or something most of the time. Because it's also just like a 5th and 6th copy of the finisher if you draw it, so you don't. It makes selectivity easier. Flavor wise, this is good. I think, right?
Yeah. Learning the song before he goes and fights Ganon.
Exactly. Yeah. Balance wise, I think this is like
still pushing it.
I think it's still pushing it, but I don't know. It's hard for me to say because the only other time we've really seen this is the Reiner. And I don't know if that card is sort of where it needs to be, or if that one is actually a little too weak. So this is like either fine or a little strong. I'm not sure which.
Sure, I get you. Let's go with the next one. Whose was this again? Sorry.
This is yours.
Cool. So we've got Link taking defensive stance. When this card, oh by the way, the art is powerful, right? All of the art that I've used for this is it is all official art. In the comments, try to figure out the one card that is not official art.
Oh boy.
Pay 1, put the top card of your deck into claw. Oh, that's not correct.
Oh boy.
It's English Bushiroad. What can you do, man?
What can you
Pay
do?
Pay 1, put the top card of your deck into your clock. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for a cost 0 or lower character with a level equal to or lower than your level. Place it on any position of the stage and shuffle your deck. So it is a summon Riki. And then when it becomes reversed in battle, you may reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. If you reveal 1 or more cards, choose up to 1 high roll character from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest into waiting room, choose a card in hand, and put that into your waiting room. So on this channel, we like to shit all over on reverse Rize.
Why is this a common?
Oh, the rarities don't matter. The rarities don't matter.
Yeah, this is a good card. I think like on reverse Rize is not the best effect, but still not a bad effect. It gives you deck speed, which is relevant at level 0. Especially like your level 1 combo in this deck mills, but it doesn't in every deck. So sometimes the on reverse Rize is where you're getting a lot of your mill.
Yeah.
But I think like when you have when you have another, you have like on play plus, and then it dies and gets you even more hand fixing, and then you have that combined with like the Rico effect on the first card.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a card that you're just mulliganing this every time probably, and then you grab it back off of Rico
Oh,
and then
sure.
just search another like attacker, and you're getting so many cards that it makes it a really easy sort of like tri-field into hand fixing to set up for your level 1 combo.
So,
So I think like there's an argument that you're just like playing this over the chaser a lot of times,
sure.
or maybe both. I don't know how many deck slots this is going to end up having like to fit these cards.
So later on, there is a true Ricky, like just a search
Okay.
Ricky, that has an
Okay.
early play tied to having it in clock.
Mm.
So while this card is sick and has like two pretty alright effects,
Yeah.
it does require you're sacrificing a good early play to play this Ricky, or you have to
Sure.
play multiple different ones.
That's fair. That's fair. So there are downsides to like maybe playing a slightly worse Ricky to get other benefits.
Yes, exactly.
Or one with slightly less text on it at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the
This
other
card's
one's very vanilla.
yeah. This card's fine. This card's like a B probably.
Hell yeah.
It does have the less good Ricky effect and the
Mhm.
sort of like worst timing on the Rize effect, but when you have both of them at the same time, it's still solid.
Yeah.
And I think this card's pretty neutral on flavor.
Yeah. There's not really anything
Um,
going on.
Yeah, defensive stance, like I don't know, maybe you could like this could have been like some card that was like the two 125s that like get big and great performance or whatever, but
Oh yeah.
like whatever. This card's a generic card that's like worth sleeving in a deck, so
Don't
whatever.
worry, we're gonna see a really cool level 2. It doesn't have great performance on it, but oh, maybe it should. Maybe I should switch the arts around. You're giving me disgusting ideas.
Uh-oh.
All right, next one.
All right, we have Link.
Yep.
He's just Link.
Yep.
002000. On play from hand, you can flip a card in your level face up. Cool. So it seems like we're just never actually running out of level cards to flip most of the time. Maybe at level 1, where we only have one to work with. On play, you can discard a Hyrule character, search your deck for Smashing Pots, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle. Yeah, this is, it's thematic. Link's defining character trait is smashing
He
pots.
He breaks the pots.
He does break
That's
the
all
pots.
he does.
I think it's like a bit interesting that you can like flip a card face down, play this, flip it face up, go grab the pots, flip another card face down, play the pots, flip it face up.
Yeah, you got Yu-Gi-Oh lines,
you get a
dude.
lot. Yeah, you get a lot of value out of these like level zone cards if you really want. Because like you look at the other set that flipped them face down, and it's like they only had one way to flip them face up ever.
Oh, there were two.
Turn.
Oh, you're right. It was one card to flip them face up, one card to exchange them with a card in waiting room.
Yes, yeah. The Shiro could exchange them with waiting room, and then the Jean flipped them face up.
Yeah, they were lacking severely.
Yeah,
but it was an interesting mechanic, and that's kind of why I wanted to use it here.
It was, yeah. And here you've got it to where it's like really something you're doing every turn, if not multiple times every turn.
Mm-hmm.
This card's good. I wish they would print more of the cards that like search events from your deck for early game events.
Yes. Like the
late game events, grabbing from waiting room is probably better, but this smashing pots is something you kind of just want to be jamming like every turn.
Yeah, I agree. You want to rock that card all the way to the end.
Cool.
We got Link Bullseye. When this card is placed on stage from hand, if your opponent has one or less characters in center stage, choose one level 0 or lower character in your opponent's... Sorry, one cost 0 or lower character in your opponent's center stage. Put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room. And put that character into... and if you do, put that character into your opponent's clock. And then when damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you may return this card to your hand.
Has this effect ever been printed before?
No. There's waiting room and there's bottom deck.
Yeah, well, and the green ones are normally minus 3,000 power.
Okay.
Because I know, like, Milky Holmes, right, has, like, the nose-picking one that's minus 3,000, I think.
You're right, and I think maybe TLR has something similar, too.
Yeah, so it's cool to see it clock, because minus 3,000 doesn't stop on death effects. Clock does.
Yeah, minus 3,000 might as well just be send to waiting room.
Right, yeah.
There's no point in differentiating.
I like the bounce back to hand. No, this is actually, is this new as well? Like when damage dealt by this is canceled, bounce back to
No,
hand?
doesn't the Yuki no Riki have that? Or is that
No, it's when
when
you're
you
it's when
cancel?
you cancel during its battle. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it
Um,
is. Maybe this is brand new. I could swear that this exists somewhere.
it might it might exist on that like new +2 soul combo that got spoiled for like Ari Ferretta. Actually, one of those lines might be bounce back to hand if it's canceled.
Maybe.
But like it's fine, right? Like it does open up. It gives you a +1, but it opens you up to direct attacks, which early on is when you don't want to be taking direct attacks.
Right.
Um, and it gives you ways to like stop your opponent's stuff. This card's like it's justifiable to play, but it's probably fighting for a lot of deck spots. So this is probably like a C plus. I don't think it's like a card you care to bounce back to your hand a lot. You're probably ditching it to bond something later.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Flavor.
He's
I kind of
shooting
like
him.
this. Right? Yeah, he's just shooting a dude. Um, Balance. It's fine.
Yeah, I think
It's a lot of new effects, but like they're basically side grades of existing effects.
Mm-hmm. Oh, next one's sick.
All
Let's
right.
go.
So next we have Link Sniper, 1/0/3000. During your turn, he gains 4,000, and during the turn, this card is placed on the stage from your hand. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may pay the cost, which is pay 1 and flip a card in your level face down. If you do, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room, choose a level X or lower character in your waiting room, and return it to your hand. This card is sick.
Yeah.
So this is I guess a spin on like the was Henology the first
Yeah,
set they got? It
Yuko,
was
I think,
the
from
yeah,
Henology.
yep. And I've always been a fan of that effect. I It doesn't see as much play nowadays, but it's really good for decks that like don't have level 1 combos or need a good like side level 1 to play.
Mm-hmm.
This has good offensive power, so it can still threaten your opponent's characters, even if you don't need the plus. It ties the plus to the level zone mechanic, which is cool. And it normally they just search. This one being mill 2, salvage level X or lower, it's kind of cool. I don't know that it's like better or worse in this deck, really. Maybe slightly worse than being able to just search whatever you want, but still good, still cool card.
Yeah. The level zone to face down, it's like a weird in between of stock and hand costed. Like if you look
Yeah.
at how the fate cards work. So I wanted to make sure that it was slightly worse than just like search your deck for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there are cases with this where you either can't use the effect because your deck is too small. The thing you want is not in your waiting room. You just mill 2 climaxes post refresh every time.
Yeah.
But I do
Yeah, this is
think
a card that
that
you probably only want to be playing like the turn you hit level 1.
yes. It is sick though that it is stock costed because you are building up like an insane amount of stock all game.
Yeah, for sure.
So it is something that lets you not go too crazy with the stock and keep your hand up instead.
Yeah, well, and it works really well with the pool triggers and the back row because it means that if you trigger one, you get the clean stock and then just pay out the climax
Yeah,
to get a card. So like you could just like pre-field this even if you don't plan on using the effect and just use it to get your clean stock if you need it.
I agree.
So this is a B plus probably.
Yeah,
Um, Flavor is probably like kind of neutral.
yeah.
It makes sense like sniper being like the high offensive, low defensive power.
Yeah, I was thinking like, the magic or like the different elemental arrows require magic. So that's why
Okay,
you need
yeah,
to
that
pay
makes
for
sense.
it. But yeah, I
That makes
agree. It's not
sense.
like super crazy or anything. Balance, I
Um,
think it's all
yeah,
there.
good balance.
All right, this one's also sick. We got Link Youth Warrior. When this card attacks, this card gets plus X power until the end of the turn. X is equal to the number of the this is the level 1 climax in your waiting room times 1500. So he's
Okay,
he's
it
big.
just gets huge. Yeah,
He's
okay.
huge. And then change, pay to put this in waiting room. At the beginning of Encore step, if this card is rested, you may pay cost. If you do, choose this 2/1 link on the side, put it on the position of the stage this card was in. So he swings big, and then he
Okay.
can change into a level 2 from waiting room at the end of the turn.
Okay.
And the level
That's
2
cool.
also gets huge. The level 2 gets even bigger.
Yeah, I'm kind of glancing over the level 2. So this is a card that you would want to. This is a card I guess I don't know. The level 2 gets huge, but it's kind of like a niche effect a lot of the time. So the Youth Warrior is probably not even a card that you're always sleeving.
Hmm.
Um,
If you have a high like power meta, like you need to hit like really high
right,
power lines, this card and the
right,
next card are like what gets you there.
yeah. Um, yeah, I give it like a C for having uses, but probably not being very important a lot of the time. I like the climax combo, just like it's not another like sort of real climax combo tied to the climax, but it
Hmm.
it just gets power scaling off of them, which I like.
Yeah, and then
Um,
you've got to have young Link changing into big Link
yeah,
somewhere in the set.
yeah, this is a good place to do it, I think. Um, balance wise, this is good. This reminds me honestly of back in Contai Set 1,
Hmm.
the build I played with the 1-0 sub that like you could gain a soul if you side attacked, and then it changed into the 2-1 that had like encore. It was kind of big. It just gave you
Oh,
like a
okay.
cool level 1 play that could clean out your stock and just kind of get like a kind of big dude on the board.
Okay. I'm
I
not
think
familiar with those cards. Those must be like super boomer.
yeah, it was like 2014 fringe, not really saw much play cards.
Nice.
But it reminds me of them, and I like them, so I like this card.
I also like being reminded of like weird. For me, it's Puyo. Like every time I see a card, I'm like, oh, that's a Puyo card.
Yeah.
That's my thing. All right, we've got. Is this me or is this you? This is you.
This is me. So this is the change target, Link jump attack, 2-1-4K. At the beginning of the attack phase, if you have a Link and Zelda, which is the 0-0, in your memory, and all of your characters are Hyrule, this card gets plus X power until end of turn. X is equal to the number of cards with pool and their trigger icons in your waiting room times 1500. And then when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room. If you do, put this card's battle opponent into your opponent's clock. So it has built-in optional removal, which we've seen on some other 2-1s lately, like the Dian 2-1 and 7 Deadly Sins, which is like
Oh
a
yeah.
13k optional memory kick. But this one's big cross turn, which makes it really worthwhile to change into. Or at least it's hopefully big cross turn. You do need the pool triggers.
Yeah.
It's bigger on offense than defense, notably.
Yes. If you have a climax in play, if you have any
All of your
pots in your
events
waiting
count.
room,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty sweet. So I think what like on average on defense, he's anywhere between like 10k and like 13 to maybe 14k.
Yeah.
And then on offense, he's probably another 3,000 bigger than that.
So consider you play the Young Link alongside your level 1 combo. You
Right.
mill all the way down to the bottom of your deck and change into this with 8 climaxes in your waiting room.
Yeah, so he gets enormous, and then it doesn't matter that you refresh because it's not continuous power.
Yeah.
That's really good. He's kind of small on offense the next turn though if you do that.
Yeah. That's fine. You're winning that lane
um,
every
that's true. You
time.
can just direct attack with him and maybe mill out some more. Um, or
I
we've seen a lot of main phase mill anyway, or not a lot, but like a decent bit of main phase mill. So maybe you can get him back up to like high enough to clock kick something with encore.
yeah. I think this card is sick. I think this change package is really sick.
Yeah, this is really cool.
This card
This is
is
neat.
playable even if you don't play the Young Link. By the way, you could just like play
Right.
this card down at 2 and have it be like an enormous like thing that removes something from stage.
Yeah. So I assume this was the cool 2-1 you were talking about.
This is the cool 2
Um,
one I was talking about.
yeah, this card's really good. I like this design. Yeah, flavor is good. Especially being part of the change package. The balance is probably good. I think this is like one of those weird cards that would take a lot of testing to figure out like what power line is like actually
Oops.
correct.
Yes.
But like at a glance, these numbers seem fine.
I figured like
Um,
on average, like you'd have like 4 or 5 climaxes in your
yeah,
waiting room,
yeah,
and that puts them to like 8,500 or like 10k. Like it turns them
yeah,
into a vanilla.
right.
And I figured for having climaxes out, being a vanilla is fine. Sometimes you're worse than a vanilla, sometimes you're gigantic.
Yeah, and the times that you're gigantic, right? Like this is a really good answer. I was talking to one of my friends the other day about this. Like the game is kind of really transitioning heavily into a format where level 2 combos are now the meta,
Yeah,
and
we'll see that.
a lot of them are really big.
Hmm.
So this card being able to scale over a lot of them, but not being a climax combo, um, is good. It gives you like an answer to them that's not just like a pushed version of the things you're answering.
Hmm.
So yeah, good card. We like this. I'd probably play this.
Hell yeah, I would totally play this change package. All right, if you've got this is Link, Hero of Time. This is the last character. If you
Zoomed
have
out really far.
Surya, Sage of Forest, and Link, Music of the Forest, this card gets -1 level in hand. On play, choose up to one character in hand with a level equal to or lower than your level. Place it on any position of your stage, and this card gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. And then when this card attacks, all of your characters get the following ability until end of turn. When this card's oh, that's not worded right. When this card triggers a climax, you may pay the cost. If you do, pay one, choose a character in waiting room, return it to your hand. So it summons out a guy and then turns everyone into, or gives everyone the effect basically. If they trigger a bag, pay one, salvage.
uh, that's cool.
It's pretty
The
niche kind of effect.
yeah, and like the summoning a dude for free. A lot of the times, like since it's an early play, isn't going to get you anything like super valuable. You're probably just saving a stock on something.
Hmm.
Um, which is fine. Like this kind of saw play in Apocrypha, right? With the Jean, they would just summon the 2 soul Mordred 2/1.
Yeah.
That one drew a card instead of getting extra power.
That one also could only summon a cost 1, I think. So you couldn't summon another
Yeah,
like
that's
level
true.
3 in
That's
your
true.
hand.
Yeah, you couldn't summon another Jean.
Hmm.
um, that's true. So yeah, this seems fine. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I probably think it's like a C plus. I don't know that you're playing this that often.
Yeah, I don't think you play it either.
Um, flavor is fine, right? He needs the music dude and
Yeah, you need the
Saria to get all his minus level going on.
balance.
Yeah, balance is fine. Um,
All
when it's
right.
a card that you're not even sure if you'd play, like a lot of
Mhm.
the time, it's probably fine on balance.
There have been a
But
few
it's
times
not
so
underpowered.
far.
It's not actually underpowered. So
I mean, there have been a few times during this series where I've seen things that are both bad and overspec at the same time, and that's really
oh,
funny when it happens.
that's pretty funny. It's like, wow, you made this card so pushed, and I still don't want to sleep it.
Yeah. Speaking of
Uh,
cards I want to sleeve.
yeah, wow. This card, with how much it's been referenced on everything,
Oops.
um, it's yeah. This is like the card you're playing the deck for. So,
Yeah.
um,
Someone in the Discord joked when I was asking for people to record this with, saying that this was just gonna be the Smashing Pots review.
yeah, I'm giving this a minus on balance because I think this
Fair.
card is so pushed.
Sure, that's fair.
Um,
Oops.
it has so many extra like if you compare this to Toilet,
Yeah.
so you do have to rest a card. You rest a character. So it has an additional cost. That kind of makes up for like I guess the level flipping the level face up thing, but the having the climax trigger on top of that,
Yeah, it's fine.
I think
Bushiro
it's
doesn't balance
just
their
free on.
events.
Yeah, I think it's just free on top of that. So this is a really pushed event. The flavor's
Yes.
great. You're smashing your pots. You're getting your money. You're getting your magic refills. You're getting everything.
Yeah,
Um,
it's awesome.
and the strength is there. This is the card the deck's built for. So we
Yeah,
like it.
this is the only screenshot. I couldn't find a render of the Ocarina of Time pot, so here we go.
Dang.
And then green is just got your two
Yep. The
climaxes.
two climaxes, the level 1 and then the level 3.
Yeah. Well, that is it for green. I hope you guys will stay tuned for red and blue coming up next time. Thank you.